The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by Alt Playground. APG is more than just a place to find couples to swap with. Alt Playground is a lifestyle community for all non-monogamous and sexually adventurous people to connect and share. And you know I started a profile. Join me over at altplayground.net. That's A-L-T playground.net. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
Yo, this one goes out to all you anxious attachers, all you up texters, and kind of to that one guy who hits on everyone at the party till someone says, "Hey, dude, can you have a little bit of chill?" This is Billy Procida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Folks, this is like breaking news. I mean, I don't know how many of you read or heard about that soul-crushing New York Times article about these free tube sites and the problem they have with child porn and with non-consensual porn. I don't know if y'all knew this, but really up until right now, anyone could really upload anything to these free tube sites, Pornhub, XHamster, RedTube, whatever. You can just upload it. Make an anonymous account, upload whatever the fuck you want. People can report stuff, and stuff gets taken down by the limited amount of moderators the site has for its billions of views every month. And Pornhub had this big revenge porn problem that the New York Times highlighted. For example, girl in high school sends a nude to her boyfriend sends it to other dudes at the school, someone uploads it to Pornhub, and even if that video is taken down, it keeps being re-uploaded because on some of these sites like Pornhub, you could download porn. You could download, not only could you watch free porn, you could download it so you can continue to rewatch it for free. And then, if someone took down this, a child rape video, someone else who had already downloaded it just re-uploads it. And they didn't really seem to have a system. I mean, it seems simple how to fix that system, and we'll get to that in a moment. But they had a limited amount of moderators for all the videos that get uploaded there, and there's a verification system if you wanted to be, but anyone could upload shit. And as of Tuesday, December 8th, article on Vice comes out. In a huge policy shift, Pornhub bans unverified uploads. Huge. Three big things that they announced. That this Vice article, and I'll put a link to in the show notes, both to the New York Times piece and to the Vice article. Major changes announced. One, no more downloads. No more just downloading random porn for free. That's huge. Game changer for a lot of reasons. It helps fix the problem that was highlighted in the Times piece, but also, you should pay for some of your porn, right? It helps if you can't just download it all. So they're banning the downloads. They're going to restrict uploads to verified users because there are already verified users. Most of them are professional porn stars who upload content to Pornhub because they have a revenue sharing model there. And then in the new year, they're going to figure out a system or announce a system for anyone to become verified. But for now, only verified users can upload, and they're going to expand its moderation process. Huge deal. That's really exciting news. I was thrilled to see that. So yay. Folks, this week on the podcast, I have got on Maya Diamond. She is a dating and relationship coach, a somatic healer, and we did some energy work on Billy during this episode. This one's an emotional one for me, and I'm really, I feel so blessed to share it with you. And I can't wait to get to it in a little bit. But first, I got some messages, some emails, messages from a variety of platforms from you whoreheads. Wanted to share some of them. This first one comes from Lauren. Hi, I'm listening to your podcast with Lisa Selin Davis, episode 359, everybody. She writes, I wanted to message you because I am and always have been a tomboy. Most of my friends growing up were boys. In 4-H, I don't know what 4-H is, maybe fourth grade. In 4-H, I participated in everything from showing horses to cooking to small engines. I always helped my high school boyfriend work on cars. I rode four-wheelers in high school. When I was 18, I got a dirt bike and a sport bike. I did some motorcycle stunt riding and had a half-page picture in Super Street bike doing a wheelie on my CRF 50 at Stunt Wars in Florida. I don't know what a CRF 50 is, people. I don't know if that's a typo or a brand of a thing, but cool. I had a Harley Davidson 1200 Sportster and also would borrow my dad's Harley Road King at times. I do all my own work on my motorcycle and everything that I can on my Yukon XL. I can haul and back a trailer better than most men I know, and literally every time a man sees me back a trailer for the first time, they are surprised and tell me how they didn't expect that. While I love hobbies that are typically for boys, I love to dress like a girly girl. I always wear makeup and I have an addiction to cute high heel shoes. I was born a girl and I've always felt like a girl. I just happen to enjoy hobbies that are normally considered manly. I have two daughters, 13 and 11, that follow in my footsteps. I encourage them to be who they are and would never push gender norms on them. Love your podcast. Would like to talk more. Lauren. Oh, there is something hot about just seeing a woman in high heels and full makeup work on a car that I don't know how it works. Ooh. Boners. This next message actually came in on OnlyFans with a $5 tip. Hey there, man. I'm Rugburn. I'm a married, retired Air Force veteran, father of 5 boys, and I just happened upon your podcast at work while researching circumcision. I know it's a very random topic to think of at work. Yours popped up with the hookup who didn't circumcise her sons. He's referring to episode 174 with Sophia. The way that you two interacted and talked so frankly about the subject matter really drew me in and made me listen to more. This led to me wanting to put a face with the voice. Just curious to see what you look like and how you were able to hook up with all these random ladies. So I Googled and thought to myself, okay, not a bad looking dude. Started listening to more and more of your podcasts and found myself, strangely and unplanningly, developing an unofficial man crush on you. It's like you're me, but Caucasian with blue eyes. But seriously, I have the same thought patterns and approaches to sex that you have. I'm straight, for the most part, but extremely bi-curious. This is something that I've suppressed, and I mean, there was no, the message got cut off. Apparently he hit enter and then he typed the rest and then it deleted it. So I actually never knew what more he wanted to say, but I completed his sentence with, and you're excited to quietly explore perving on a like-minded dude. And you know what? I'm excited about it. I don't care who wants to throw money at me. You know, like I'm straight, but my wallet is incredibly bisexual. So any of y'all listening out there are always welcome to come slap me with your credit cards real hard in the face. Oh, love it. Rugburn, welcome to Fan Whore Nation. And this last one comes from Dotted with Hearts. Dotted writes to me, sorry, I don't mean to pester you, and you've probably been asked this several times before, but did you ever hook up with a person after you record the podcast episode? Like, I mean, you turn the mic off and just fuck. I swear, there definitely sounds like there's sexual tension in there with those girls. I think I've answered this before, but yeah, that happens sometimes. With my ex-partners, sometimes we are tapping back into an energy that was already there, right? There was a chemistry we had. It's why we fooled around or hooked up in the first place, right? And then we kind of get back into it. And then sometimes I've hooked up with guests who I'm just meeting for the first time because, well, we all have heard the podcast. The best versions of the show are these like fairly intimate conversations. And when you're having intimate conversations with someone who's pretty and they think you're pretty and they have the audacity to make a very unprofessional move upon me, but I don't make first moves because that's incredibly unprofessional. And technically, the guest shouldn't be making the first move, but luckily for them, I'm consenting. I don't know how to deal with the rules there, but it's kind of comes with the territory when you're talking about sex for a living. But I hope that sated some of your curiosity. Go ahead and just go listen back, and then you can play a guessing game of like, did they fuck afterwards? And if you too want to send a question, a comment, a criticism, you can send any and all of that over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. All right. Wow. Holy shit. It's only been up for like a week, but folks, the Champagne Room, our Discord server, our new Discord server for the Fan Whore Nation is live and it is popping. We have, what do we got? I think we got already, first week over 60 people in there. 60 plus like-minded, sex-positive individuals who just want to connect with some fellow weirdos, right now we're just having a little conversation of just like, who's wearing pants? Are we being pervy and sharing pictures? No, just curious. And we've been doing questions of the day to start the conversations going. Like, have you ever tried a monogamous relationship? How did it go? So we're having some fun in there. We had our very first Sexual Achievement Sunday. Very lively, very active, having a lot of fun. And we would love for y'all to join us on our brand new Discord server. If you don't know what Discord is, don't worry. I barely do either, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. It is nice to be on a platform that does not try to censor and dictate what we can or can't post in our own private place. So that's dope to be like free from Zuckerberg's grasp. And just to celebrate the launching of the new server, I am going to be doing a giveaway. Yes, let's give away some free shit. It is the holiday season after all. I'm going to be giving out 10 sticker packs to 10 random members of the Discord server at the end of the month. Because Man Whore Podcast, I don't know if y'all know this, we have a merch store. It's located on the Man Whore Podcast Facebook fan page. So I've got a lot of fun little stickers. We have a cool bumper sticker that says honk if you're into consent. Makes driving very confusing. If we get up to 200 members, I'll do another 10 people, giving away another 10 sticker packs. If we hit 300, I'll do another 10. So I'll just do, I'll give away sticker packs to 10 random members of the server for every 100 people in there by the end of the month. How's that? Good deal? Yeah. So go to, click on the link in the show notes or go to manwhorepod.com/Discord. Join us. And if you're having trouble clicking that thumbs up sign, I'm promising you it works. If you're thinking like, is it me or is this thing broken? I promise it's you. But it's fine. You can message me. We'll get you set up. Hope to see y'all in the Champagne Room nice and soon, including my shout out for this week's Fan Whore Appreciation Moment, Jessica M., who I don't really know anything about. All I know is that her Discord avatar is a possum. So it's like, you know what? Thanks for being a member. Wish you wouldn't fuck up my trash bins every Sunday night, but I'm glad you're part of the Fan Whore Nation. And you too can support the podcast and join our sex positive community and get all sorts of fun rewards when you become a member at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. And now for this week's guest, Maya Diamond. Wow, surprisingly deep episode for me. Folks, Megan and I are fine. We are fine. But, we used to be like these daily, all day texting people. And recently, over the last couple months, Megan's kind of like pulled back. Like she's trying to work more and play on her phone less, which means like our texting is a little less regular than it was, which is fine in and of itself. It's just an adjustment for me. And then I all of a sudden find myself I'm like, oh, she hasn't texted back. But I'm like, Billy, stop being a crazy person. But there's still a part of me going, oh, I don't know, man. Maybe that means something. And so it was really nice to be able to do some work with Maya on that, as well as learn more about attachment theory and where that comes from. So I think y'all are really going to love this one. There is a later in the episode, we do like an exercise, and it involves tapping on various parts of my body. I can't really edit it out. So if you find that annoying, sorry, not sorry. But just know that sound is me tapping on various parts of my body at her instruction. No, not that part of the body. It's not that kind of somatic healing. All right, let's go chat with Maya Diamond. 'Tis the season to be slutty. Fa la 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 la. Pay for your porn. Folks, Have you been marking off your hotmovies.com advent calendar? Hope you have, because I just got a notification saying, congratulations, I unlocked on December 8th, Sex Addicts Anonymous, a free 14-day rental that has been added to my account. So now I know I get to watch this porno for free, guilt-free as well, so long as it's within the next 14 days. That's fabulous, because hotmovies.com, it's both an affordable and ethical way to hashtag pay for some of your porn. You know the message. You know what I'm going to say here. And right now, you can guilt-free get a whole bunch of free porn. Free porn sanctioned by hotmovies.com, because they've got this daily advent calendar. You just go check in every day leading up to Christmas Day, and you get to unlock some free goodies. Sometimes you're going to get free minutes. Sometimes it's a free movie. Sometimes it's a free rental. What we're saying is you can get a bunch of free porn from hotmovies.com just this month, guilt-free. You don't have to feel bad about not paying for it. Someone got paid down the pipeline for it. You're good. And on top of that, if that's not enough free porn for you folks, you're going to get 20 extra minutes on top of any package you sign up for, including the free trial, when you use promo code MANWHORE at hotmovies.com. Now I got to go watch Sex Addicts Anonymous. I really hope that the protagonist by the end of it gets the help that he or she really needs. The Man Whore Podcast is excited to be sponsored by altplayground.net, the site to go for your next non-monogamous adventure. And yeah, folks, it is the season. It's the season to be naughty. And Holly and Jolly, they're both really hot. They're twins, but they play together. It's fun. Folks, if you need a break from the holiday stress, hop on over to altplayground.net, poke around and meet some new people. Community is still incredibly important. And, it may not feel safe to make a lot of in-person connections, but APG wants to facilitate all the virtual fun you can have between the big wall, awesome entertainment from over 20 sex-positive podcasts, and fun features like, video chatting. There are just all sorts of ways to decompress and get back into a sensual mindset. If you match with someone on Tinder and you're like, hey, you're hot, want a cam? Inappropriate question, you'll probably get banned. APG, very appropriate question to ask. I would recommend a little more tact, maybe try to get a few get to know you questions in and then be like, oh, hey, you're really hot. I'm feeling things. You want to pop on cam? And APG will facilitate that right there on the platform, because they know that just because we can't have the swinging parties in person doesn't mean we can't have swinging parties online. Get ready for your next non-monogamous adventure at altplayground.net. That's altplayground.net. And now let's get to the show. Your publicist reached out to me at like the perfect time in my life for me to say, if she's okay helping me more than I interview her, I think then yes, let's do it, because Billy's struggling.
We've got it. We've got a deal. Awesome.
So you are and tell me if I get your titles wrong, but a relationship coach?
Dating, relationship, and sex coach. Actually, I have competency and work with clients on all of that. So
and how long have you been doing that for?
I've been a dating and relationship coach for the last 13 years. And then I have been deeply studying sexuality for the last, probably 5 years, but then just recently got certified in that as well.
Oh, fantastic. With ASECT?
No, with Jaya. Okay. Yeah.
With like halfway through the career, did you think, oh, there's not enough like sex in this? Like I need to add on to the practice.
Yeah. I mean, it's always been one of my greatest interests and passions, I would say. I love talking about sex. I could talk about sex all day long. And so, it was just like a burning desire to be able to really go deeper in terms of helping people with that. So that's why I did the coach certification.
Oh, fantastic. Was there anything in like learning about, like reading up on sexuality that surprised you, where you were like, I thought I knew about sex. I didn't know about this.
Oh, yeah. I've learned a lot in the last year. I can't even tell you. Yeah. I got my whole brain expanded a lot around kink. Yeah. I had definitely some judgments around kink that are no longer there at all.
Oh, that's so cool to hear. Is there anything in particular that you had to kind of come around on?
Yeah, I thought that, people who were attracted to kink, usually had like some kind of history of abuse or whatever, and that's why they were drawn to it. But little did I know that, in my opinion, everyone in our culture has experienced the feeling of authority over. And so pretty much, you can be super into kink and have, no abuse in your history, but really be attracted to the taboo, the shadow, power dynamics, all of that stuff. And so it really has no, kink, a lot of people who are highest in that, we call it erotic blueprint, they have a lot of shame around being really kinky. And so I just think there's no reason to have any shame. It's totally amazing. And it's one of the, it's such a transformational healing, also kind of, inspirational. Like you can go into different states of consciousness in kink that, you can't go into in other, so there's it's such a creative form of sexuality and there shouldn't be any shame around it. And so I think I definitely had judgment and shame around that.
Was there a moment where you kind of felt taken aback and was like, wow, I have had this all wrong? Like, what was that? What's that like? Because we love to think as humans, we like to be like, I'm right, I know what I'm talking about, my opinion, it's basically fact. But I think it shows incredible humility when you have like a really strong opinion on something to go, wow, maybe I'm wrong on this. I used to really rail on demisexuals, man. Let me tell you, I had beef. And then I'm like, and then it's a lot of conversations. And luckily I get to have conversations like this for a living. So, over time, over years, I go like, okay, and then, someone makes a point. I go, oh, I didn't see it that way.
It's easy. Yeah. I mean, that's such a great topic, which is like, what are the things that we have the most judgment on? And usually they're the things, that maybe we don't relate to as much, right? Like, for example, I know we're here to talk about attachment theory, attachment styles. And, I have the lowest in my attachment kind of map. I have the lowest in avoidant attachment. And so that's the easiest for me to have judgment around because I don't relate to it as much. But then sometimes I do. If I'm in a relationship with someone super anxious, I can go super avoidant. So, but yeah, that's such an interesting thing is, these judgments that we have. And I think it's so important to have awareness around what these judgments are so we aren't ruled by them and aren't constantly, criticizing ourselves and others with these judgments.
I mean, like me, I'm, as a comedian, like I'm professionally supposed to judge people in fun, soft ways, but it's like, that's gotta be, you've got to be really self-aware, I feel like, to be a dating coach, relationship coach, a sex coach, and try to always be like, am I being biased in like this advice that I'm giving? Am I receiving this person's issues through, my lens, or am I, how, to become objective in that stuff seems really difficult.
Yeah. Yeah. And I got my first training was getting my master's in somatic psychology, which is mind-body psychotherapy. So I'm a licensed therapist as well as being a coach and a healer. And so that the whole program, all of those 3 years were all about becoming self-aware of those biases and thoughts and beliefs and judgments as you're sitting with a client. And so it's a huge amount of training to be able to it's really about mindfulness. Exactly. Like really watching those thoughts and noticing like, okay, where am I going to go next with this person based on what they're saying, how they're feeling, and what they're needing. So my whole work is really tuning into this other person to help them get what they desire.
I think, and I know I have not experienced this as much, but I've heard so many people feel this way, where they're worried about their therapist, that, maybe they're going to go see a new therapist, and they're worried about them being judgmental. I think one of the most common questions I get over the years is, how do I find a sex positive therapist, or a queer inclusive therapist, a kink friendly therapist, someone who maybe won't see the polyamory as like a symptom of something automatically. Yeah, there's a worry, like, is this therapist going to truly try to see me?
Yes.
Or are they going to think I'm broken? Do you think that's a fair fear to have?
Yes, I do. I think it's very fair, because most psychology programs give zero sexuality education, or maybe like a 2-hour or 4-hour or a 6-hour. And so a lot of therapists do not have, deep training around sexuality, nor do they have deep training around polyamory. I've been I'm monogamous, but I've been living in the Bay Area for over 13 years. And so I know so much about polyamory, because at least half of my friends in the Bay Area are polyamorous. And I love my
and the other half, they're not poly yet.
And, in my erotic blueprint coaching community, about half are polyamorous. And so I think when you're around the culture, you understand exactly that, some people may be using it to avoid intimacy, 100%. I've seen that over and over again. And a lot of people are exactly truly polyamorous. And so that's really their truth. And that's what's going to help them feel the most living their authentic truth. And so I think it's really knowing yourself and what your needs are, and not doing it because it's the trendy thing to do, doing it because it's actually what you deeply need and desire. For me, I'm deeply monogamous. Being polyamorous would be completely against all of my, it would be not being in alignment with my truth. So, yeah.
Basically, it sounds like you're saying, hey, your therapist might be sexually fucked up themselves, and they only got like half a day in school about this. So, the cause for concern is fair.
Yeah, I think it's really good, there are obviously lots of therapists who are sex positive, who know about polyamory, and this is, true, I would say, for LGBTQ people as well. It's like asking the questions so that is this person going to be culturally sensitive to your culture or not? And if they don't, if they don't have that facility, then maybe looking for someone who really understands deeply and can really support you, because exactly in I would say monogamy and polyamory, you want to have agreements with your partner. You want to have healthy communication with your partner. You want to have boundaries. You want to, all these things, actually, that's the interesting thing about relationships is there's a lot that applies to both, right? It's like all about human interaction. And so it's actually pretty similar. But yeah, you want someone who's not going to pathologize your lifestyle choice.
Yeah. I'm only just now trusting that, like, my therapist, who I've been seeing for a couple years now, that he doesn't do that, because sometimes he will push on like the lifestyle stuff, and he always has to be like, Billy, we're not saying that the way you live your life is bad. We're just concerned that if you go to sex parties when you're feeling bad about your body, that might be an environment you're going to feel worse. And then I'll be like, But yeah. Well, you said in relationships, communication is important, boundaries are important. And currently, I feel like my relationship is going through a little bit of a shift in boundaries and communication. I think the pandemic is definitely having an effect on my girlfriend and myself, separately and together. But I am noticing, and I gave you a little prepper before we got started, I have been thinking about attachment theory a lot. Would you care to introduce my listeners who might not be aware, what is attachment theory? Maybe give us a rundown of some of the basic attachment theory options that are out there. Say, if we had taken a BuzzFeed news quiz.
So this is one of my most favorite topics. I'm an expert in attachment theory, as well as how to heal your attachment style. And there's 4 main attachment styles. And the attachment styles are how we are organized around relating. And so our attachment style is based on the way that our parent or primary caregiver treated us growing up, as well as their attachment style, what they were role modeling and what their nervous system was role modeling to us, as well as our biology and our DNA, and as well as all of our relationships after that primary caregiver, relationship, our romantic relationship. So all of that forms our attachment style. But the basis is really one of the biggest things is the way that we were attended to, connected with, felt, seen, heard growing up or not. Maybe there was neglect. Maybe there was abuse. Maybe there was lots of chaos in the household. And so the 4 styles are secure, which is someone who's so there's an attachment style for each individual person, and then there's an attachment style for the relationship. So a relationship is either secure or insecure. And then the 4 different attachment styles that a person can have are number 1, secure, which is someone who's consistent, reliable, loving, comfortable sharing their needs and feelings, comfortable receiving feedback, comfortable, is able to have boundaries, is able to walk away from a relationship when it's unhealthy, and believes that there's more than enough love to go around. The next style is anxious, which is someone who maybe had an abandonment early on growing up, or maybe growing up, the person didn't have enough of the consistent, reliable, and loving caregiving. And so they were always kind of tracking, their nervous system kind of got onto high alert and had to track for they didn't know when is my parent or primary caregiver going to give me love? And so their nervous system was always kind of wondering why. And so that's
when's mom coming back home?
Yes. When's mom coming back home? Exactly. When am I going to get that love and care and attention? And so there's a little bit of a hyper arousal. We call it a hyper aroused nervous system with the anxious. And so then when you're in relationship, you may be more preoccupied with the relationship. You may fear that the partner's going to leave. You may, over text or over it's almost like a leaning in with the anxious. It's like, in my opinion, the secure is like in themselves and in their own nervous system, but then also can co-regulate, meaning they can help the other person feel calm and loved. But they're not leaning too far in and they're not leaning too far back. With the avoidant, the next style, the avoidant's more leaning back. They're a little bit withdrawn. The avoidant had the parent or caregiver that was either very engulfing, so they felt like they couldn't really have their own personality and have a relationship. And so their parent was either engulfing or very neglectful, one of the two. And so they had to really shut down. So they have a hypoarousal system in their nervous system, meaning they're shut down, they're numb, and they have a disconnection with their own needs and feelings. So then when someone else has needs and feelings, it's hard for them to really honor those because they don't have a lot of connection with needs and feelings. And
they're the kind of person who might go like, it's okay. I don't care that they're not here.
Yeah.
It's fine. I'll be okay. They're almost better alone, away from the person.
Yeah. And they're very happy they might want to be in a relationship, but it might be more like we're both in the same house, but we're not talking. That's kind of a really comfortable space for an avoidant to be in.
That one's so tough for me because if we're in the same, I'm like my mom. It's like if we're in the same room, why aren't we talking?
Right.
If I didn't want to talk to you, I'd go to a different room.
Right. Exactly. So that's, it's very different. And then the disorganized is when there was chaos in the household, maybe abuse between the parents or abuse to the child. And so you grow up with a feeling, so there's a push and pull inside your nervous system, feeling like you really want love, but at the same time, it's really very, very scary. So it's almost anxious and avoidant together is disorganized. So there's a lot of push and pull in relationships, and you may really kind of be harsh to push away your partner because the intimacy is so scary. Sometimes it feels like life or death with intimacy because you've experienced that growing up. So in other words, your primary caregiver was a source of panic and fear. So it's really important for all the insecure so the insecure rubric is avoidant, anxious, and disorganized. For all of those, it's really important to do work to heal so that you can be more secure. And that's the good news, is that everyone can become more securely attached.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that was going to be my next question, was the good news part, is that it's, from what I've heard so far, is that no one's attachment style is like permanent. Mm-mm. And that it also can change. Yes. So it's okay if you've always been secure and I wouldn't say I've always been like secure, but I've been like somewhat healthy. And I've noticed recently I've gotten like way more anxious attachment style than I normally would. Yeah. Which is why, I've been thinking about that. Part of me is curious about what Megan would identify her attachment style as, but it's certainly not anxious, because I can be quite extra as a boyfriend sometimes, and I'm nervous about pushing her away with that. You were saying before how like you can be a little bit more avoidant, and I was like, yeah, we could never date. I would annoy the piss out of you. Because you'd be like, why is he fucking texting me? And I'd be like, because I'm your boyfriend. And you'd be like, yeah, but like, go have a life. And that's why I was excited to talk to you, because now that I feel like I'm starting to get informed on it. I would like to try to learn some steps on how to try to get back to a secure attachment style. Because right now I know how to do some basic like Band-Aid fixes, like. Okay, try not. Okay, I just texted this time. I know she's at hanging out with a friend. Don't text her while she's hanging out with the friend. It doesn't make me feel better, but like I can at least not do it.
Exactly.
And I want to get to the point where like I can feel fine not doing it.
Right. And that's the thing.
I'm what you would call a needy bitch, Maya. That's. I don't know if that's its own style, but I guess
you very much own yourself, that's more secure, just to let you know. So the fact that you kind of are just open with who you are and are willing to talk about it is very secure, in my opinion, and confident.
But the frustrating part of that is that if I don't change, then it's just really annoying to hear me be self-aware and do nothing about it.
Totally. So yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of like really getting clear on what are my symptoms of anxious attachment. Is it that I feel like I need a lot of reassurance? Is it that I feel like I am always afraid that my partner is going to leave? Is it that I have a lot of jealousy? Is it that I totally self-abandon? That's one thing that anxious attachers do, is they become codependent. Once they get attached, they can become codependent and always focus on the other person's needs and abandon their own needs. So getting clear on what are the things,
I'm codependent too? Shit.
Sorry.
We got a lot of work to do. Yes. I don't know what your schedule's like.
Yeah. Well, I have a program for men. We would love to have you in it. So, but I know you're probably already doing a lot of work. But anyways, so yeah, it's, those are the symptoms of the anxious. And then going into the deep root cause is, to me, the most powerful part. Because usually for the anxious, there's parts of yourself that didn't get that love, attention, care, attunement, presence that you needed as a child. And so the more that we give those parts of you that love, attention, presence, care, attunement, the more that those parts feel more secure. So I've created, specific ways to do that I work with my clients. In terms of I'll just give you like a little tip around the reassurance piece that I think is really key, is like, talking to yourself and saying like, wow, I'm noticing I'm needing reassurance from my partner. How can I give that reassurance to myself? And try to do that, which might be sharing to yourself what you want to hear from your partner. Like, wow, you're really amazing. I love you. You're great.
Never said those sentences to myself.
Yeah. Or like, you're super important and valuable to me. Sharing, putting your hand on your heart and giving yourself that reassurance. Like, I really care and love you, and you are so important to me, and I'm not going anywhere. So even having that, like, as a just easily saying that to yourself is so powerful. And then also, it's also secure to be able to share with your partner. I'm noticing I'm needing a little reassurance. Can you share with me, 2 things that you love about me? And I think
that's exactly what I asked Megan to do. I was like,
yeah.
Last night we finished watching a movie. I'm rubbing her back a little bit, and she's like, "Ooh, can we maybe go in and have some like oil and massage?" I was like, "I'll do that if while I'm massaging you, you tell me things you love about me."
Yeah,
'Cause I need to hear it.
Beautiful. That's great. I think that's fantastic that you said that, and that ideally, being with a partner who can be able to share, "Oh my God, you're so amazing. I love how you massage me. I love how cute you are. I love, and I think, again, where it becomes I think the thing that I help one of the things I help my clients with the most is that if you're too far on the extreme, if someone's super anxious and super avoidant, then it can be hard to really have that. It can be hard, for example, for an avoidant to give reassurance because it's triggering for them. Or it can be hard for the anxious to reassure themselves if they're, so we want to, the more we can come towards the middle of that secure attachment. Yes, I can give you this, no problem. And I can also give it to myself, no problem. And so the more we can do both, that's the healthiest thing, in my opinion. And sometimes people are really good at giving them to themselves, like self-regulating. That's more on the avoidant. They are experts. We should all get, experts at taking care of themselves. They're much better than anxious at taking care of themselves and self-regulating. And so, but then they need to learn from the anxious how to be more, reaching forward, reaching towards the person, right? And so again, we want to come to the middle and be able to reach towards our partner and say, "I love you. I need you. This is what I need. This is what I love. This is what I love about you. This is, great." And then also to be able to calm ourselves down and self-regulate. And so that's something for you, Billy, that I think would be really powerful, is learning more around self-regulation. And, just another tip around that, like one of the biggest ways that we can self-regulate, both in terms of our actions, because sometimes the anxious wants to do something really acting out, right? Like pushing the partner away or yelling at the partner if they're feeling really angry or triggered, or, doing something kind of acting out. And so when we do one thing,
is that to try to get someone to like then give the thing to, like acting out so that they'll say, "No, but baby, I love you." Is that like,
yes, exactly. Yeah. And so, and it's also just acting out of that energy. There's that energy inside that wants to be met. And so it's kind of like when we throw up, it's like we kind of put that energy out. And so instead, it's like, wait a second, we need to self-regulate. And so meditation is something that I have my clients do that helps us be able to learn how to calm and soothe our nervous system, but also how to notice, again, the mindfulness. Wow, I'm feeling really scared. My partner it's 11:30 and I haven't heard from them and they're still not home. And I know they were out with a coworker. Like, I'm really feeling really scared and I need to, chat with them. That would help me feel calm down.
You really need to stop hacking into my journal, by the way.
And so what are my options here? I can self-regulate. I can let them know how I'm feeling in a vulnerable way and share what I need. I can, take a walk. I can meditate. I can, do different things to help myself calm down.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting that you said that acting out can also be a form of trying to connect. I think back to when I got bullied mercilessly as a kid.
Wow.
real bad. We'll skip most of the backstory, but like when I say I got bullied, just assume it was more than when everyone says they got a little bullied. Like I didn't really have friends, and so I noticed maybe in part, so in like retroactively, I think I've noticed like, oh, I would do some shit at school that would be either embarrassing or kind of like weird, just so that someone would react, period. So it's like almost like sometimes I would almost seek out getting bullied because at least the kids are interacting with me.
Right. Totally. Yeah. I mean, I think that makes sense. Like just, you seem like an extroverted person and you seem like you like social contact. And so that also makes sense in terms of, your needs for connecting in community, and that was something that you really wanted to do. And but because you bring up the bullying, I want to just speak to it because it's really common in the people that I work with as well. And that is a total form of attachment wounding, right? So growing up, all of the people that your friends, all the potential friends or potential friends in that age range or that group, those years that you were in school, which those are also, friends are also a kind of like an attachment. We're attached to our friends, right? Those people you didn't feel like you could really rely on. In fact, it was the opposite. They were mean. And so that's a big place for deep trauma healing, because those parts of you and all the people that are listening that have been bullied, because it's really common, those parts of you, of course are going to feel insecure, feel shameful, feel, all those things that the bullies, made you feel. And so it's really powerful to get healing work around that. Now, part of the work I do is we go back into the memories and we heal those memories so that in the psyche and in the nervous system, those pieces are healed instead of still kind of going in loops in your psyche.
And, and I want to get to the healing in a little bit, of course, but, when a new client comes in, is it quick and easy for you to figure out their attachment style or styles? Or, like what's that process like? What are you asking in a session to kind of figure out like where this person's at?
Yeah. Because I've been doing this work for a long time, it's pretty easy based on, I'm listening to their patterns in relationship. B, are they the one that's usually wanting more or wanting less contact with their partner? And how safe do they feel in a relationship? Do they feel calm and relaxed, or do they feel, really anxious, or do they feel, worried that their partner is going to leave? And then, what is their childhood history? So that's one of the biggest things that I'm looking at. Was their mom really engulfing and, controlling, and they didn't allow them to really have their own sense of self? Or, did their dad leave when they were 2? But then each person has their own responses to those. That's what I love about doing this work is everyone is so different in a little different subtle ways, right? So there's always these differences in terms of how one responds to the way that their parents treated them.
Mm-hmm. And what's your attachment style?
I'm mostly secure currently. And of course it's changing every day because I continue.
It's okay if you're not. I know it's professionally good to display, hey, I'm secure.
No, I'm not 100%. I'm secure. I'm not 100% secure. I'm just saying that I still work on this stuff. So it's changing every day. So, but yeah, I'm mostly secure with a little bit of disorganized, and then a little bit more of anxious, and like hardly any avoidant. Yeah.
Yeah. It's when you were talking about the, what are the other relationships like? I was thinking too, I don't know if you know this, but so the premise of this podcast originally in the very beginning was I would have this problem where women would sleep with me, but they wouldn't date me. So I wanted to find out why, ultimately. Because I was like,
oh, that's the name man whore. That makes so much sense.
Yep. Like, I always wanted things to get, like, whenever I wanted it to escalate to being like a romantic relationship, the women always told me, no, we just want to keep it cash. Yeah. But they also wouldn't break things off. Because sometimes when that conversation happens, it ends up like stopping stuff. But the women would be like, oh, no. You get back to this bed and do that thing that I like, but just keep the nice lovey-dovey words to yourself. And,
wow.
And so then I started this podcast where I talked to women I've hooked up with about why we didn't work out.
Oh, my God. That's awesome.
I'm thinking, fuck, I've been anxious attached this entire time. I've always been the one who like wanted more.
Yeah. And you probably, because you're more anxious, you probably have been with a lot of avoidance, because anxious and avoidant kind of are magnets to each other. They're
so mysterious and hot. It's just hard.
Exactly.
It's hard to stay away.
Very seductive. If someone's more on the anxious side, then they're going to be more attracted to people more on the avoidant side, because it's kind of this opposites attract magnetic pull, similar to Carrie and Big on Sex and the City. They're the perfect example of an anxious, avoidant couple.
That is a reference that I'm sure some of my listeners understand, but
you're in New York City, so of course.
I was more of a Sopranos watcher than a Sex and the City watcher. Totally. But I'm aware that those two people are characters from a show.
Yes.
Wait, but so if avoidant and anxious typically attract, obviously not always, but then like, who the hell's dating the disorganized people? What's up with them?
Well, everyone's dating those people, disorganized as well. It's just that it's just very common, an anxious, I'll see an anxious person with a disorganized, or a secure person with a disorganized. It's all the combinations exist, but it's more common for an anxious and avoidant to be together than, for example, an avoidant and an avoidant. But you'll see, disorganized are with all types. There's not like a common one there, I would say.
And
that I see.
It sounds like with the healing that you work with people on, because like one of the few things I wrote down on here while we were chatting was can avoidant and anxious attachment styles go together, or do they really need to work both of their ways towards secure for the relationship to continue?
Yeah, for the relationship to work, both the anxious and the avoidant need to be 100% committed and willing to work on their part and to owning their part and to working on it together and alone. If one person is not willing to do that, it's probably not going to work. And if one person isn't willing to own their stuff, like, wow, I am, really afraid of intimacy, and it is really overwhelming to me. And I do use these distancing strategies to push people away, because my mom was really engulfing, and it's really overwhelming when someone gets too close. If you can do that, what I just did, then and not just say it, but actually mean it, then you're like so much more halfway there. You have the self-awareness. You're willing to look at your stuff. And what I find that's important, I guess I just want to encourage all the attachment styles who are listening to really be willing to do that, to own your fears in relationship, whether I'm afraid of getting overwhelmed, and I'm afraid you're going to take away my freedom, and I'm afraid that you're going to want too much for me. And yes, that is my avoidant parts of me, because I have these other parts that really want intimacy. If you can really own it and identify it, then we're able to work with it in the, coaching relationship. But if you're not willing to own it and identify it, it's much harder for you to get any traction in terms of, healing these parts of you that might actually be pushing the love away that you really deeply desire.
Mm-hmm. And so in an effort to own my stuff, I am not going to ask about the healing of the other attachment styles.
Awesome.
I'll be like, what, Megan, someone, they can ask you about that.
Great. That's very non-codependent of you.
Yeah. So what is, how do we begin the healing? And if we can heal me in 20 minutes, fuck, that'd be sick. What is for the anxious attachment style? What are some parts of that healing? We've already talked about doing some of that stuff for yourself,
self-regulation,
speaking out loud. the self-regulation, but that sounds like pragmatic steps. How do we work on the actual healing?
Well, I can do a little bit of a deep dive around this. So one of the main modalities that I use is a trauma healing modality called EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Techniques. And what I do is I tap on the endpoints of the Chinese meridian system while opening up the file folders of the brain, which heals the traumatic memories, the negative beliefs, the negative stories. And what it does is then it reorganizes the whole nervous system, reorganizes the beliefs so that whatever it is, so that those fears, whether it's the fear of engulfment or the fear of abandonment or whatever the fear is, so that they really dissipate. And I can, this every day I see miracles with my clients. So for example, a client that's, afraid of opening up so that she could have deeper intimacy with her partner, we do some tapping around the fears and we go deep, deep into the childhood memories of where those fears are coming from. Because all of our negative beliefs and fears and negative thoughts, they're usually connected to an earlier time in our childhood where we experienced something that really was really scary around that, right? Or that really was really shameful, or really was really attacking or abusing or all this stuff, right? For example, if you've been abused in childhood, there might be a real fear, and maybe you had an abusive relationship, there might be a fear of falling in love again, because then you may be afraid that someone's going to abuse you again. That is, for example, I have a lot of clients who've been divorced and have been in abusive relationships. And so it's really scary to open their heart again. Mm-hmm. So we have to do that deeper somatic healing work. In other words, with the tapping, we really connect in with what are the feelings, what are the sensations, what are the beliefs, what are the memories that are attached to this whole challenge that they're dealing with.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So, let's say we were in a session. What would be like what would that kind of look like? What might be something you might try to go tap? How would you? We
can do like a 5-minute tapping if you want to do some healing work with me, or a 5 to 10 minute.
I would love to do that.
Okay. So based on what you told me about the bullying stuff, I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be cool to do a little bit of tapping around that, which would also probably be helpful for people listening because they can tap along with us. But let's just take a moment. I want you to close your eyes. I want to ask a couple of questions. When you think about the bullying, I'm curious, what do you think, or actually, I'll ask it a different way. What is the main kind of anxious attachment symptom that's coming up for you right now, where you're fear of, or you're wanting to text, or what is the main thing happening?
I am fearful that my girlfriend doesn't love me despite her saying so. Perfect.
Okay, great. Is she going to be listening to this later? Does she listen to these podcasts?
So in the beginning of dating, something we've been over is that I'll never share stuff about her that she does that we haven't already talked about.
Perfect.
So it's if we talk about it and you don't want it to be on a podcast, it's on her to tell me, okay,
totally.
Please, I don't want that on a podcast. So she already knows that these have been concerns. So if she didn't want that on a show, she would by now tell me, hey, let's not talk about that. You're nervous about this thing on the podcast. And then I'd be like, okay, yeah. So just the idea of she should never be surprised that about something being on the show, in as much as she should have already known it exists.
Awesome. That's great. You guys have that agreement. Yeah. So the fear is fear of her falling out of love with you, even though she says that she is in love with you. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. This is perfect. So, am
I still having my eyes closed?
No. So I want you to, you can open them now. And I want you to just tap on the karate chop point as we're talking. So just tapping. Sorry, it's going to be a little bit of a sound in our listeners. Actually, you know what? Since you're holding the mic, I want you to tap on your chest with one hand and hold the mic with the other. That's perfect. Okay. So just tap on your chest. Okay, good. And then, where do you feel that the most in your body when you think about that fear? Where in your body do you feel it the most?
My shoulders.
Great. And I want you to close your eyes. And when you think about that fear of her falling out of love with you, what are the negative feelings? Fear, any other feelings?
Embarrassment.
Uh-huh.
I don't know what to call it, but feeling like a fool.
Okay, great.
Like thinking something is that isn't. Those are the main ones.
Great.
I don't think it's loneliness because of what happened back in the summer is like, I've already come to terms with like, if the relationship ended, I've already kind of mourned it and then I'm good. So,
Yeah.
But like, I wouldn't be thrilled, but like, I don't think I would be traumatized in the way like breakups can sometimes be.
Totally.
But like, I am nervous about like putting in time and feeling embarrassed that like I thought she felt this way and maybe she's just been holding it in the whole time, and then one day she says, actually I didn't even this.
I'm not even yeah. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So I want you to close your eyes as you're tapping on your chest. And you can either tell me the memory or you can just not tell me. Whatever you feel comfortable is fine. But I want you to think about what's your earliest memory of feeling these same, as far back as you can remember, of feeling these same kind of feelings, fear, embarrassment, feeling like a fool. Okay.
Oh yeah, it's grade school. It's me thinking someone was my friend, and then when the kids go, you don't have any friends, then I'm like, well, actually, Jeffrey's my friend. And they're like, actually, Jeffrey tells us he doesn't even fucking like you. And that would happen a lot.
Yeah.
So me thinking I have a friend and then finding out in various ways I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Same thing. Okay, good. And so what are the negative thoughts? I'm afraid she's going to fall out of love with me. What else?
It's embarrassment that like I thought that things are good in the relationship, as good as they can be in a pandemic.
Right.
That I think things are good and that they're not, and that maybe she's withholding that information from me.
Yeah.
Because obviously if she shared like things weren't good, I'd be like, well then, I want to do the work that I can do to make it better. Right.
Right. Yeah. Okay, good. So and in talking about this, can you see how this is, I just kind of want to, for the listeners, just kind of give a perspective that I think is helpful, which is, again, the mindfulness, which is like how our perspective, this is actually, I'm giving kind of a spiritual piece right now, how our perception is so powerful in how we see the world, right? So the perception that Billy is talking about is based on, it's almost like a kaleidoscope going back into grade school based on, he's seeing the world and his relationship based on this younger part of him. Okay. So, and we all do this 100%. We all have our own perception that we see through our eyes based on all of our history, all of our experiences, all of our childhood. And so that's why it makes sense that we all have these different ways of seeing the world and relating with the world. So I want you to tap on the eyebrow point, which is right here, 2 inches below the eyebrow. Good. And just on one side. Good. And just repeat after me. So we're going to start the tapping now. Is that okay with you?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm going to say a sentence, then you're going to say a sentence and repeat what I say. And then we're going to take a deep breath in through our nose and exhale out loud, letting everything go. And yeah, you may yawn, burp, cry. These are all ways that you're releasing negative toxic energy from the body. I'm not going to...
Wouldn't be the first time I've cried on this show.
Okay, awesome. I'm not going to... I'll try to not go super deep because we're not in like a whole hour session. I'm going to try to do like a medium, light to medium deepness.
We're giving listeners a teaser.
Exactly. Good. So tapping on the eyebrow point. So even though a part of me is afraid of Megan falling out of love with me. So repeat.
Even though I am afraid of Megan falling out of love with me.
Perfect. I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Good. Deep breath. Good. Tapping on the temples on the side of the head. Even though I'm afraid that I think things are going well, but maybe they're not.
Even though I'm afraid I think things are going well, though they're not.
I love and accept myself.
I love and accept myself.
Good. Deep breath. Good. Tapping on the sinuses. I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
That things are going well in my relationship.
That things are going well in my relationship.
Tapping under the nose. And that I can feel calm, safe, and secure.
And that I can feel calm, safe, and secure.
Good. Tapping on the chin. Deep breath in through the nose. Tapping on the chest. I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
That I am deeply lovable.
That I am deeply lovable.
And more than enough.
And more than enough.
And that there's nothing wrong with me.
And that there's nothing wrong with me.
Good. Deep breath into that. Letting yourself feel that tapping on the top of the ribs by the bra line if you had one. Good. Even though in grade school I thought someone was my friend, but they actually weren't.
Even though I thought in grade school that someone was my friend, even though they weren't.
And they didn't like me.
And they didn't like me.
And that was painful.
And that was painful.
I love and accept myself fully.
I love and accept myself fully.
Good. Deep breath. Good. Tapping on the side of the wrists. I'm open to the possibility.
I'm open to the possibility.
That I can trust that Megan loves me, cares about me, and likes me.
I can trust that Megan loves me, trusts me,
cares about me, and likes me.
And likes me.
Good. Deep breath. Tapping on the side of the next finger on the thumb, closest to the fingernail. I'm open to the possibility that I can trust that she cares about me, likes me, and loves me.
I'm open to the possibility that she loves me, cares about me,
and likes me.
And likes me.
Good. Deep breath into your body. Good. Tapping on the side of the next finger closest to the fingernail. All of creation is supporting me in this.
All of creation is supporting me in this.
All of creation has my back around this.
All of creation has my back around this.
I am loved and I am supported.
I am loved and I am supported.
Tapping on the side of the next finger. I am more than enough.
I am more than enough.
Tapping on the karate chop point. And I am becoming more secure every day.
And I'm becoming more secure every day.
I'm becoming more secure in myself and trusting my own deep sense of worthiness.
And I'm trusting in myself and my deep sense of worthiness.
Good. Deep breath. Good. And I want you to close your eyes and I want you to go into a memory of when you were in grade school and you thought someone was your friend, but they weren't. And I want you to just notice the colors, the feelings, the sensations, and really connecting in with those colors, really connecting in with how you felt in that moment when you found that out. What was Billy really feeling, young Billy really feeling in that moment? And just take a deep breath into that. Relaxing into the feeling and acknowledging how you were feeling. And just tell me how you were feeling.
I was feeling abandoned.
Good. So I want you to just really let yourself acknowledge that and just take a deep breath into that, relaxing into those feelings. Good. And I want you to now bring someone into the memory, someone from your life now, or someone from your life then that could have given you whatever you needed. So connect in with what it was that you really needed in that moment. What did you need? Maybe words of affirmation or affection or a hug or presence, whatever it was that you needed. I want you to bring someone into the memory now to give you whatever it was that you really needed. And I want you to just see that person coming in and giving you whatever it was that you really needed. Good. So I want you to just see them coming in and giving you whatever it was that you needed, really seeing them giving you that, and just take a deep breath into that, really receiving that in every single cell in your body. Good. And I want you to now just tap on your chest and just take a deep breath in, taking that in even more. Good. And just repeating after me. I am deeply loved.
I am deeply loved.
Deeply supported.
Deeply supported.
More than enough.
More than enough.
And I can trust that others like me, love me, and care about me.
And trust that others like me, love me, and care about me.
Good. Deep breath. I allow myself to trust that now.
I allow myself to trust that now.
Good. And tapping on the eyebrow point. I am integrating this naturally and spontaneously.
I am integrating this naturally and spontaneously.
Tapping on the temples. All of creation is supporting me in this.
All of creation is supporting me in this.
Bringing your hands to your thighs, keeping your eyes closed, allowing what no longer serves to float down into the earth to be composted. Whatever needs to stay, allowing beautiful golden divine light, energy, oxygen from above to fill every single cell in your body, healing, clearing, releasing. Anchoring this deep sense of safety, trust, and love, deep lovability inside. Deep worthiness inside, deep trusting in yourself and others. Love for you. Whenever you're ready, you can slowly open your eyes, coming back and just telling me how you're feeling and how that was for you. Mm-hmm.
So what I don't like about the woo-woo shit is that, like, there's something about it that works. I feel like they're emotional magic tricks, but they work. Cause I'm like you can't see me, people, but I am in like a full teary faced.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. It's beautiful.
That felt nice.
Yeah.
It was unpleasant at times.
Yep.
Yeah. Fuck.
Yeah.
That's 5 minutes of it. Fuck. I don't know how I do an hour because I feel emotionally drained. I was like, I need a cuddle and a glass of water.
Yeah. Beautiful. I love that you're connecting with your needs. Exactly. So yeah, water is actually key for integrating what we just did. So drinking water is really helpful. Taking a bath, writing in your journal, getting a hug, all of that is fantastic.
Like Megwin did we did on air like a brief thing. We did a salt. She likes using some sort of a salt thing and we were rubbing salt on my temple. And then when we were done, I was like, son of a bitch, that made me feel better.
Yeah.
I don't want it to work, but I think it does.
I love it. I love what you said. Emotional magic tricks. Nobody has ever used those 3 words together, and I'm loving that. I do emotional magic tricks.
Now, was that EFT? Were those EFTs?
Yes. So we just did EFT tapping. Yep. 100%. So yeah, so that was really, just to integrate the work, I would recommend, and this is for everyone who had this kind of experience, because there's a lot of people who had that experience growing up, writing down an affirmation, which would be, I always give my clients affirmations after the tapping. So like, I can trust that others like me and love me. And yeah, I can trust that. It could be, I can trust that my girlfriend likes me and loves me, or it could be, I can trust that others like me and love me. And I am more than enough. I think that would be a perfect one for you. Just to say that.
Writing on the bottom of your notes page.
Perfect. And saying that every day will just help anchor the deep experience that we had today, which is really powerful to just anchor it even more.
Yeah. Wow. How does
it's hard?
So what is somatic healing? If you had to, if you were at a bar with someone and you 3-4 times and they were like, what's somatic healing? What is that? How would you describe it?
I wish. Don't we all miss? I didn't even like.
By the way, it got crazy dark in your.
I know.
Wherever you are.
I can turn on the light. I used to not even like bars, but now that sounds amazing. So I would say the somatic healing is working with the mind body interface to do healing on the psyche. So it's somatic means first person experience of the body. So that's why with somatic healing work, somatic coaching or somatic psychotherapy, we're always working with the first person felt experience, the sensations, the feelings, the thoughts that reside in both the mind and the body.
So masturbation is somatic.
Yeah, definitely. First person experience of the body, right? Orgasms.
That was the first thing I thought of.
Orgasms could be a first person experience of the body. Pleasure could be a first person experience of the body. Pain. Yeah, exactly.
And so doing work like that, it's again, this is with like a lot of different whatever types of therapies, whatever the issue is, like you go to therapy, you say like, I have a gambling problem. I don't know. I'm pulling this out of thin air. I say, Doc, I got a gambling problem. And they're like, okay, let's talk about your father. I'm like, no. I got a gambling problem. We got to do that. And it's like, no. We got to talk about dad. And then by the end, ideally by the end of talking about dad, maybe the gambling problem is not as much a problem. I don't know, or it seems like you're like, we don't have to focus on how much you're texting or not texting or what is being said. Like that's pragmatic, but it sounds like you're like, we got to do this inner work.
Yes.
Before we can ever heal the other.
Yeah. And just to be clear, I'm a coach, even though I have my background as a therapist. So I work with my clients 100% coaching.
I was calling like,
but yes, you're right. The deep, when it's almost like it's almost like if you think about a hand knit, cloth or whatever, it's like there's a string that's going through all the knitting and then you want to pull the string out and the whole thing kind of dissolves. And so maybe the surface of the cloth is all the surface symptoms, but we want to go deeper because the deeper work always is going to be much more effective. Wow. But I really do a combination. So we're going deep, but we're also doing, behavioral changes as well. For example, like, one behavioral or one more surface level thing might be, like I'm going to go online 30 to 60 minutes a day because I really want to find my partner. So I help my clients do those behavioral shifts because sometimes there's a lot of resistance. They want a partner, but they don't want to there may be resistance to actually moving forward.
Yeah. Well, Maya, that was fantastic. Thank you for guiding me through that.
Yeah, you're welcome. That was really fun.
Let me see. And I guess the last question I would have is, let's say you're, either you are a you're mostly secure attachment style. Let's just even say you were like 95% secure attachment style.
Yeah.
Or you're like me and maybe you're trying to work your way to secure. When you get to secure, are you just done now?
I would say, you mean with personal growth? Or
or
what
like
do you mean?
within a relation. I just thought of the concept of like, we're talking about attachment theories. Like you say, you describe these 4. One of them sounds like the quote unquote ideal one. So it's like, oh, well, when you get there, like, is the work done, or is it important to continue doing work to maintain?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say, nobody's ever asked me that. That's a really good question. Ideally, it's integrated, so it sticks and you don't have to keep doing as much of the work. So the more integrated it is in your system, the more you don't have to keep doing the things. So that's kind of the piece, is if it's really integrated, then you won't have to be doing as many of the things that you were doing to create that experience. I believe in personal and spiritual growth. So in my opinion, the more you get, secure, the more you can go more into, spiritual states of consciousness and awakening and have that experience where you're actually more in a awakened state. So I think, it's very hard if you're super insecure, I would recommend first focusing on the attachment work, because that's going to help you then go into those spiritual states from you can totally work on both at the same time. But I see a lot of people, in my community, where sometimes in the Bay Area, where they only do the spiritual work and not the psychological work. And that
a little too much of the spiritual work.
And that creates a split in the psyche, and there's not enough integration and grounding in the psyche. And so there's not an integrated, evolved, conscious human. There's these conscious parts, but then there's also these split off parts. So we really want to be integrated, conscious, evolved humans, in my opinion, actualized humans.
Fantastic. Well, Maya, this was fabulous.
Awesome.
I came in not knowing what to expect, and I'm so thrilled. This was great. Maya,
so
where can people go to learn more about your work? You do a podcast yourself?
Yes. Yeah, totally. So my podcast is Rewire Your Attachment Style, and you can find that anywhere where podcasts are. And then if you're interested in working with me, the best thing to do is go to empowerlove.us/love. And there's a link for women and a link for men. And that will get you into my free webinar. And then you can also book a free love breakthrough session with me or a member of my team to see if you're a good fit for the program that I have that really focuses on deeply healing your attachment style and helping you with all the tools you need to find a healthy relationship. So we do both in the program, which really increases your self-confidence. People, they're just so in love with themselves by the end of the program that the relationship that they found is just the icing is just like an extra thing, right? So imagine that there's just so much deep self-love, so much overflowing with sense of security and confidence. That relationship is just an added plus instead of like the most important thing.
Yeah. Oh, well, that is great, folks. Definitely go check that out. I'm definitely going to have to go scroll through some of your episodes on Rewire.
Yes.
Well, Maya, thanks again so much. And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
So wonderful to be here, Billy. Thank you so much. And so wonderful. I hope everyone got a lot out of this. And I look forward to seeing you soon.
Ooh, what did y'all think of that? Did anyone else cry? Was it just me who cried? That's okay. It's all right. I feel comfortable with that. I'd feel more comfortable if I knew what you thought about this week's episode, which you can share on our brand new Discord server, the Champagne Room. come on by. There's a whole channel just for episode 361, and you can share with other fan whores what you thought, what you didn't like, questions you would have had. Throw them all in there. Go to manwhorepod.com/Discord or click the link in the show notes to join us today. You can also always send me, something privately. Maybe it's super long. Maybe it's a little personal. You just want to share it with yours truly. You can send me an email with your comments, your questions, your criticisms to manwhorepod@gmail.com. Oh, folks, it's about to get saucy. This weekend, I am posting a video of me getting a delicious blowjob from Brenna from Front Porch Swingers. Oh. Where am I posting it? Well, of course, I'm posting it on my OnlyFans. Yes, it is free to follow my OnlyFans, and it just costs a little bit extra to watch Brenna slurp it all down. And you can go check out all my lewds and thirst traps at onlyfans.com/callmebilly. And I've got all the other boring social media. I'm on Twitter at @TheBillyProcida. I'm on Instagram at BillyIsProcida. And you gotta spell that whole sucker out because I am still shadow banned. And if you want some dank sex positive memes and news, go smash that like button on the Man Whore Podcast Facebook fan page. Facebook, we're still using it? Then I still got a page. Last but certainly not least, especially in this holiday season, folks, I'm working hard for you. I haven't missed a Wednesday yet. Keeping the audio quality good and high key. Is high key even a fucking phrase? What did I just say? Folks, I'm working hard for you. And if you're appreciating what I do, I'd appreciate if you can find some space for me in your budget. You can support the Man Whore Podcast and receive a slew of great rewards, including behind-the-scenes content, bonus episodes. We've got our monthly Man Whore Munch next Wednesday. And you get to enjoy knowing that you're helping keep a roof over Billy's head. Become a member today and support the pod that you love at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Next week, I've got on comedian Jamie Kilstein. Ooh, it's a nervous one, folks. But, I think those conversations are important to have. And, I am nervously excited to share it with y'all. So until next week, stay slutty. It's the vibrator that has no equal. And now, Motor Bunny offers their thrusting sex machine, the Motor Bunny Buck. Enjoy a Man Whore Podcast discount on any of their products with promo code BILLY40 at motorbunny.com.